I am a prophet of the Most High God, and I'm ready to roar for him.
This is how Morgan Daub closes her monologue to camera. Prior to this, she faked a British accent and announced her abdication of the British throne in order to avoid becoming the Antichrist in a video uploaded to YouTube at the end of 2022. 2 months later, she and her parents were found shot dead outside their home as a result of a joint pact by all 3 family members. In this video, we'll explore the psychiatric illness which afflicted the family and drove them to decide to end their lives, as well as analysing the video for evidence of the illness. When we first heard of this incident, it immediately struck us as a likely case of shared psychotic disorder, where multiple individuals come to believe the same false beliefs. These sorts of shared psychotic disorders can end in self-termination and pacts to end a group of lives simultaneously. Shared psychotic disorder is classified as a type of induced delusional disorder. The ICD-10 criteria for induced delusional disorder are 1. A delusional belief arising in an individual in the context of a close relationship with another person or persons who has an already established delusion. 2. The delusion is similar in content to that of the person who already has the established delusion. 3. The disturbance is not better accounted for by another psychotic disorder, such as schizophrenia, or a mood disorder with psychotic features, and is not due to the direct physiological effects of a substance or a general medical condition. In this case, as it involves family, it could be termed a folie à famille, a French term that translates roughly to madness of the family. It's a variant of folie à deux, which literally means madness shared by 2. The term folie à deux and its variants are used in psychiatry to describe a phenomenon in which delusional beliefs are transferred from one individual to another, or sometimes to more than one individual, hence folie à famille. If you're enjoying this video, you can find a link to our analysis of a prison interview with a woman suffering from erotomania on the top right of the screen now. Who were Morgan Daub and her family? Morgan Daub was described as a young woman who
really seemed to enjoy bowling. And she was smart, kind of a quiet girl. Her mother was very friendly. Dad was friendly.
Morgan was homeschooled, and some acquaintances reported that Morgan appeared to suffer from anxiety, and her mother was quite protective, perhaps even overprotective of her. Mother and daughter took up bowling as a means of bonding when Morgan was a teenager, and Morgan turned out to be a good bowler, even competing in a professional women's bowling league event on one occasion. Morgan and her family were extremely religious Christians and quite vocal about their support of Donald Trump. So far, it sounds like so many other people and their families. That all changed when police were called to the house for a welfare check after neighbours said they heard 3 gunshots on the night of 24 January 2023. Authorities concluded that the family members were all shot in the head, with Deborah, 59, shooting James, 62, followed by Morgan shooting Deborah, and then herself in the backyard of their home in West Manchester Township, Pennsylvania. Their bodies were
arranged in a straight line starting just a few feet from the porch and extending south.
Morgan was found holding an approximately 3-foot-long sword inscribed with the words, "Sword of the Lord," in her left hand. A living will was taped to a door in the house, stating that the family did not wish to be resuscitated. Each member of the family left notes behind in their own handwriting. The note from James stated,
"With only 2 guns and me being shaky, my wife Debbie pulled the trigger for me."
Deborah's note stated that,
"I was too shaky, so my daughter pulled the trigger for me,"
and that her death should still be considered a suicide. Deborah's note was dated 18 January 2023, 6 days before the pact was concluded. Lead Detective Timothy Fink stated that,
"It appeared from the writing left behind by the mother, which was fairly detailed, that her daughter had approached her indicating that she was suffering from auditory hallucinations and that it was getting worse and felt she couldn't live like that anymore. Deborah wrote that she didn't want her daughter to pass on alone, so she had decided to end her life with her. The rest of the letter seems to be directed to or about God and to her husband, James Daub. The letter reads as if she expects James to survive them after their passing."
According to papers written by Deborah, she and Morgan had originally planned to kill themselves together and leave James behind. The letter written by James indicated that they had told him their plan, and he decided that he didn't want to live without them. In the early parts of the letter, James says that he is not ready to end his life, but by the end of the letter, it is evident that he had decided to do so. In an April 2022 note, Deborah wrote that Morgan chose their execution date based on a Bible verse, in which two parents give their child back to God. She wrote, Samuel 1:24-28. Morgan chose the date. I believe I have to be with her. This section of the Bible reads, After he was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli, and she said to him, Pardon me, my lord. As surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord. And he worshipped the Lord there. Deborah also wrote about the evil Morgan and the family faced, but police said she didn't go into great detail. Morgan's note featured references to many religious themes, similar to the videos posted to YouTube. The notes also contained instructions on where life insurance policies could be found.
They had also sedated their family dog with medication so that it would not pose a threat to first responders.
And how financial accounts, including debts to be paid, could be accessed, and left instructions for the care of their dog in a letter titled Cooper's Dog Letter. On the 24th of January 2023, Morgan uploaded a 6-second YouTube clip showing simply, Follow me as I follow Christ. Later that day, the family carried out their pact. If you're enjoying this video, you can find a link to our Ed Kemper playlist on the top right of the screen, which we think you'll enjoy. So, what was going on? Well, it appears that Morgan began suffering from schizophrenia, based on the fact that according to a letter from Deborah, her delusions and hallucinations had been going on since at least April 2022. The nature of some of these delusions can be seen in the video which we analyse next. Deborah appears to have believed Morgan's delusions sufficiently to write about evil forces arrayed against Morgan, and to have decided that rather than sourcing mental health treatment for her daughter, when her daughter told her of her plan to self-terminate, she decided to join her daughter's plan. While we can never be sure given the fact that Deborah isn't available to interview, this fits the pattern of one person becoming psychotic and someone close to them coming to share their delusions. It is unclear how much James shared their joint delusion, but we can assume he must have shared it to some extent, given that he chose to die rather than source mental health treatment for his wife and daughter. So, without any further ado, let's begin the videos and see what evidence we can find for psychosis on Morgan Daub's part.
Yeah, so, where's my microphone? Oh, there it is. Hello. Hello, world. Yeah, you don't know me. Actually, some of you do. You're listening right now. Hello, world. You will know me soon. God is going to introduce me to you, and he's going to use some evil and wicked people to do so, and then he's going to destroy those evil and wicked people. And I might get to participate in that. Anyway, my first name is Morgan. It means great sea. I am a seer. I am a prophet of the Most High God. I am filled with power and justice and might to declare to people how they have transgressed God's law.
Okay, so far it's a bit overly religious and confrontational, but there's nothing clearly psychotic so far. Some very religious people can say these sorts of statements and it can be normal within their peer group.
Let me tell you. Hold on a moment. So today's date. It is 2:24 in the morning, September 15th, 2022. 257th day of the year. I don't know why that's important. I just said it. But right now, there are hundreds of millions of people after me. You wouldn't believe me, probably, saying that because you have no idea who I am. If you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble. Yeah. Look, it got me a little pop-up, little confirmation from the United States military. Who have my laptop secured. I didn't make that do that. It just did that. I wasn't even looking at the screen. I just happened to look down. Yeah, there are hundreds of millions of people after me. Including the United States military.
Well, now we're into clearly more psychotic territory. Morgan believes there are hundreds of millions of people after her, including the United States military, and not only that, but she also believes that an Intel update pop-up is confirmation that the United States military is after her. If I were treating Morgan, I'd check if this laptop were US military issue, in which case it probably does get updated over the air via the military, as per their security protocols, or whether it was her personal laptop. While Morgan later goes on to state she was conscripted into the US military, there is no evidence to support this, and so this is most likely to be her personal laptop, and thus her statements regarding military interference with it are most likely to be delusional.
And, that's under Donald John Trump, 45th and current President of the United States. Yeah, it's a long, long story. You might think I'm some conspiracy nut. You know, you're just in denial. Still, no. Anybody looking at this situation going, Joe Blow really has control of this country, you're the nut. Anybody looking at this situation going, Donald Trump just left the country to the left, or to the deep state. If you're that awake, you know there's a deep state. I mean, hello, government corruption. There's a deep state out there, working behind the scenes, being led by none other than Hussein, Barack Obama. And we have multiple shadow administrations going on in America. If you take a look at the news cycle, you know it's being manipulated. You know it's being manipulated by somebody out there. Nothing is normal. If you're still thinking life is normal after 2.5+ years of a DIVOC situation, that's COVID, by the way, DIVOC, it's backwards, because everything's upside down and backwards. It's not COVID, it's DIVOC. After 2.5 years of this DIVOC push from the left, from the deep state.
I've heard this one before. Divok was purported to be a Hebrew word meaning possession of the evil spirit, and rose as part of a conspiracy theory during the first phases of COVID-19 that COVID was designed by a malevolent, anti-religious world order. One of the main flaws with this theory is that Divok isn't a Hebrew word at all. Sometimes people with mental illnesses will make up new words or phrases that other people cannot understand. These are known as neologisms. In schizophrenia, neologisms are part of the disorganized speech that characterizes the disorder. People with schizophrenia sometimes make up words that have special meaning for them, or they may combine words in ways that are not understandable to others. These new words or phrases may appear completely random and disconnected to an outside observer. While the use of neologisms can make communication difficult, the words or phrases often have significant meaning to the person using them. They may be related to the person's delusions or hallucinations, or they may be a product of the disorganized thinking that can accompany schizophrenia. In severe cases, a person's speech may be so full of neologisms and other abnormalities that it becomes an incoherent word salad, completely unintelligible to anyone else. It's important to note that the presence of neologisms alone is not sufficient for a diagnosis of schizophrenia. They are just one potential symptom of the disorder, and the diagnosis would also consider other symptoms, such as delusions, hallucinations, disorganized behavior, and negative symptoms like blunted affect or social withdrawal. In this case, since the Divok conspiracy was widespread on the internet, the use of this word wasn't a neologism, but was indicative that Morgan either was prone to believe conspiracies or had incorporated conspiracies into her own delusional complex.
You think things are normal when you can't go to a doctor's office without having to have a little face mask, face diaper, CCP face diaper on your face? Are things normal? People, no, they're not normal. No, so I'm coming on here tonight. It's after 2 a.m, have not slept yet. Because I am under complete persecution and oppression by hundreds of millions of people right now. And no, I don't have hundreds of millions of guns pointed at my head. Can I say that word? Can I say the word gun here on YouTube and Rumble? Because I'm not threatening anyone with it, they're threatening me. And no, I'm saying, no, there are not hundreds of millions of guns pointed at my head. Literally, metaphorically, yes. I have had death threats. My family is being threatened every single day. There's all manner of evil weaponry and technology being used on us, from military under Trump to the military under Hussein. Believe me or not, I don't care. I'm not on here for clicks. If I were on here for clicks, I wouldn't be putting out stuff like this.
That was clearly psychotic. The odds that there were hundreds of millions of people in a vast conspiracy allying Trump and Obama aimed at Morgan and her family are astronomical. So, the allegations fail our reality testing. It just isn't in keeping with reality. Obviously, we'd be naive to think that governments don't lie and monitor their citizens, so that part of the delusion isn't so obviously delusional. But involving hundreds of millions of people and targeting a family for no discernible reason is far less likely to be real and is more obviously delusional.
No, I'm not out here for clicks. I'm out here to expose the people in there. I will probably get some backlash for this, but I'd rather that than living squashed and suffocating under the weight of, you wouldn't believe. If I told you, if I went down the list right now, you wouldn't believe me. That's okay. I don't care. I really do not care. I hope my microphone's working well and I'm not wasting my breath. But anyway, I'll have to test it and see, because there are people who can mess with things on my laptop, and I can't do a thing about it.
While, again, this is technically possible, there is no reason to suspect that a vast conspiracy has singled Morgan out to mess with her laptop and microphone, and, taken in the context of the other delusional beliefs she expresses in the video, it is safe to say that this is another manifestation of her paranoid delusions.
Yeah, my life has been stolen from me. I've basically been conscripted into the United States military against my will. I am nearly held hostage in my house, nearly under house arrest. I have done nothing wrong. I'm an innocent American civilian. I have been brought into something so much bigger than you could ever possibly imagine, and so much more evil than you could ever possibly imagine. So, yeah, the title of this, I don't know. Behold, the days are coming. I don't know, God, what do you want to say? Behold, the days are coming that I show this world who is God. Behold, the days are coming when I will put the nations in fear, that they may know themselves to be but men. Behold, the days are coming when my people, my oppressed, persecuted, tiny, faithful remnant, rise up, and I put them on top. They are beneath right now. They are being squashed. They are being pressed on every side. But behold, the days are coming. I put them on top. I flip things completely upside down, and I put them on top. And nothing will be able to stop it. Nothing, no one, ever will be able to stop me, because I am the Most High God, El Elyon.
El Elyon is a term used in the Bible, and it is one of many of the names attributed to God. The term comes from Hebrew and is most often translated as God Most High, or Most High God. The term is used several times in the Old Testament of the Bible. In a broader context, the term El Elyon emphasizes God's strength, sovereignty, and supremacy. It's a term of reverence and respect, underscoring the belief in God's ultimate power over all the things in heaven and earth.
Behold, the days are coming when the wicked will not be able to get a wink of sleep, for fear of a God who can throw them into hell with the bat of an eyelash. Behold, the days are coming when the United States military is going to learn that no matter how much they can finesse things, they cannot predict it all. Not even close. Their algorithms and their predictions are going to miss by miles and miles. It's going to be like one of those fake ICBM tests where they miss the mark by like hundreds of miles. That's ridiculous. That's totally ridiculous, people. Come on, no. Those are staged fake tests, by the way. Don't know why I went there. But that's how bad some of these predictions are going to miss. Because, yeah, they have supercomputers and algorithms. The deep state, military, Trump's military. If you don't know these terms yet, go learn them. I'm not explaining them right now. If you think I'm some nut out here, you go right ahead. I don't care. I really don't care what anybody thinks of me. I don't even know why I'm doing this, except I'm so fed up and I'm full of the fury of the Lord and I'm weary of holding it in. And I just have to have this little moment to let some of it out. Just a little moment here. Just a couple moments, just a couple minutes. God is going to unleash me fully soon. And I'm going to burst upon the head of the wicked. Behold, the Lord has a mighty and strong one, like a tempest of hail and destroying storm, like a flood of mighty waters overflowing. And there are people who think, we're not going to get swept away in this flood. Oh, but you are. Oh, but you are.
Okay, so the government is arrayed against her and her family as well as God's faithful. They fake ICBM tests. Obama and Trump are allied in a conspiracy against her, and soon God will release her as some sort of avenging power against God's and her enemies. Sounds pretty delusional to me. The use of the term El Elyon is interesting. It's a term used in the Bible, and it is one of the many names attributed to God. It points towards a religious preoccupation, particularly with the Old Testament. In practice, I find that if a single delusion involves the Old Testament, then often many of the person's delusions involve the Old Testament. This is important because the Old Testament features a lot of sacrificing to God, willingly or unwillingly, self-mutilation, and smiting of enemies, and so can be a marker for a higher risk to self and others, in my clinical experience. Next, Morgan notices that her name is visible on the top of the screen. As you can see from the video, she succeeded in trimming it to remove her name from the video before uploading it to YouTube.
I just realized my name is right there at the top of this PowerPoint. I don't care. Maybe I can, I think I can trim it. Oh, I hope I can trim it. I hope I can trim this PowerPoint. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do this all over again. I'll figure out how else to cut it. Oh well. So yeah, you just found this video maybe. And you're like, oh, that looks interesting enough. I have nothing else to do. Whatever. I don't even know why I'm on here. Except I'm done with being persecuted days on end and not exposing it. Even if this doesn't fix some of it, it's okay. At least I got to let out a little bit of what I've been holding in. And I might never even post this. Behold, the days are coming. God has a day against all that is proud and lofty, against all that is lifted up, and it shall be brought low. And there are people out there, can you believe it? If you can believe it, as our president says, if you can believe it, there are people out there who, in one breath, say, we know everything that's coming, and then in the next breath they say, oh, but we're not proud. No. It's so bad. It's like, okay, somebody needs to maybe see if you need to be put in an insane asylum or something. I don't know. Get your brain checked out. Make sure you're fully functioning. Someone like that could be a threat to our society. I'm just saying. I'm not naming names. I might never even post this. I hope I can figure out how to edit this so my full name isn't showing. That would be great, because I'm not ready for that yet. Oh, yeah. Oh, behold, the days are coming.
At this point, we're roughly 10 minutes into the video, and we're comfortable saying that Morgan is showing signs of thought disorder, with her slightly rambling speech which shows a loosening of associations and flits somewhat chaotically from thought to thought. This is a sign of mental illness in general, but schizophrenia or mania in particular.
God has a day. And it is coming. Nothing can stop it, and no man can dictate to him what happens on his day or what he does on his day. This world is so much more evil than anyone could have ever imagined. There are actually two sides of evil right now, and they're going head to head. They're playing chicken. See which one flinches first. God's actually going to let them crash and burn. And then all the oppressed peoples of the world are going to get to live free. There are some bad times coming and some really good times. You say, isn't this bad enough? Apparently not for Donald Trump, who thinks we need to see all the evil and experience all of it for ourselves before he does anything. Oh, this is just a conspiracy nut. Whatever. I don't care anymore. I'm not the crazy one. Everybody out here thinking that the world is normal. You're the crazy ones. Everyone thinking that what's on the fake news is what's really happening. You're the crazy ones. Okay, you're the crazy ones.
This is common in schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. In order to justify their delusional worldview, individuals often claim that it is the whole world that is crazy, not them. That they're the only ones who see the truth and everyone else is deluded, including any family members or mental health staff who try to help them. This is one reason why treatment is so difficult.
Donald Trump says, sometimes you can't tell people. You have to show them. You have to let them experience pain and suffering on a level unimaginable before he comes in and swoops in and looks like a hero. And his military, because they are under his control. Not every one of them. Some of them. Most of them. Some are under Hussein. Nobody's under Joe Blow, people. Nobody's listening to him. He's somebody that changes diapers every day. I don't even know if that is Joe Blow. It's Trump and Hussein. Can't you see it? Trump and Hussein pulling the strings. Trump and Hussein. And his military, Trump's military. They seem to think my speaking the truth about what's really going on the last 2.5 years threatens them. I wonder why they would think that. If everything has been done perfectly, if Trump is the hero everybody thinks he is, he's done everything right, why am I a threat to you? If I share some facts about the subject here. Yeah, facts are stubborn things. You have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, so why are you attempting with some high-tech weaponry to control my mind? Why am I a threat? If it all has been done legally and according to the rule of law. What on earth am I to you, people? Oh, now she's really crazy. Mind control. That's in the sci-fi movies, right? Yeah, it is. And they told us everything they were planning. Do you really think all the technology that the military has is open source knowledge? Do you really think that? Do you really think that these tech companies actually release all the technology they have as soon as they develop it? Don't you think they hold back some for themselves? You see these videos on YouTube with the technology, the cars these elites have and what they can do. Do you think they're giving the public all the technology? No, they hold it back for probably a decade or more, and then they release it to us. Little bits of it.
And more delusional symptoms are uncovered. These are delusions of control, a specific type of delusion typically associated with psychotic disorders like schizophrenia. These delusions involve the strong belief that one's thoughts, feelings, and actions are not their own, but are being controlled or manipulated by an external force. People experiencing delusions of control might feel as if they are an automaton or puppet being controlled by someone or something else. They may believe their thoughts are being inserted or withdrawn from their mind, a phenomenon known as thought insertion and thought withdrawal. They may also feel that their actions are under the control of an outside force, despite clear evidence that this isn't the case. Some examples of delusions of control are thought insertion. The person believes that certain of their thoughts are not their own and that they have been put there by an external entity or force. For instance, they might believe a government agency is implanting thoughts into their mind via a chip or through some form of advanced technology. Thought withdrawal. The person believes that their thoughts are being stolen or removed by an external force. For instance, they might believe that aliens are extracting their thoughts. Made feelings, impulses, and volitional acts. The person believes their emotions, impulses to act, or actions are imposed upon them by an outside entity. They may think that they're being forced to move against their will, or that their feelings of happiness, sadness, etc. are being controlled by others. Thought broadcasting. The person believes that their thoughts are being broadcast or transmitted so that others can hear or know them. It isn't clear which of these types of delusions of control Morgan feels she's suffering from quite yet.
I don't care. Who thinks I'm crazy? I don't care if nobody ever watches this video or finishes it. Yeah, I am fighting for my life. I'm in a life and death struggle against hundreds of millions of people. The only reason I am still breathing, the only reason my family, my mom and dad, are still breathing is because God gives us breath in our lungs every day and the ability to go to sleep, if we can sleep, with everything that's going on, with all the technology attacking us day and night. He gives us the ability to go to sleep and to wake up, and He fills our lungs with breath. My God is a shield about me. He is the glory and lifter of my head. He is the only reason I am still here, and the only reason I will make this out. Make it out of this alive. With stammering lips and another tongue, I will speak to this people. I don't know if my microphone is working. I don't know if I can even trim this video. I will try. I am no tech genius. Although from what people tell me, my IQ is pretty up there. I don't care. I should give you the list of things I do care about, because I keep saying I don't care so much. The list of things I care about: God, family. I don't care about America anymore. I would say country. But this country has proven itself to be so depraved. It's past saving. It's past worthy of being saved. God, I believe, is still going to save it on behalf of His name's sake and His tiny faithful remnant. List of things I care about: God, family. God is Jesus, by the way. He's Yahweh. Not some God. It's not some code word for another God. No. It's Jesus, Christ of Nazareth. Yahweh. Adonai Elohim, Jehovah. That one, Yeshua HaMashiach.
Again, Morgan brings out quite Old Testament names for God. El Elyon Elohim means God Most High, and Yeshua HaMashiach means Jesus the Messiah. This underlines her Old Testament delusional obsession and appears to have played a role in both the pact between the family and the date it was carried out.
I seriously don't know if this video is working at all. I don't care. The list of things I care about. God and family. I have given my all to Jesus. I will never deny his name. Peter said that and got tripped up by it, but he said it. He would do it in his own strength. I say, in the strength of Jesus, in the Spirit of Jesus, the Holy Spirit who fills me, I will not deny his name. Yeah, it's a short list of things I care about. Serving God in whatever way he leads me to. Whatever way he leads me to, not whatever way the United States military leads me to. Let me clarify. Yeah, I'm sure no one made it into this video this long. Probably talking to the wind. Talking to my laptop, whatever. Behold, the days are coming. God has a day. Did you know? God has a day. And in this day, he's going to turn things upside down. He's going to give his people the voice and the platform that we have been lacking for probably 1700 years. He's going to give us the power that we have been lacking, although it is here in a measure. But there was something stolen from us 1700 years ago, and God's going to give it back to us. And every wicked, evil person who's plotted against the Most High will fall. I don't care what your name is. Look, another thing I don't care about. I don't care what your name is. Who you think you are. Who you think you are in the Bible even. You are nothing. Your work is less than nothing. He who chooses you is an abomination. And you know who you are. There are people who think they are irreplaceable. I know for one thing, I am nothing without God. I could not stand before a holy God without the blood of Jesus covering me. I am a sinner saved by grace. God has a day. It's coming. And I'm pleading with God that by the end of this year, he moves to deliver me and deliver his tiny faithful remnant in America, his tiny faithful remnant in the world, from the persecution of our adversary. His name is Satan, Lucifer, the dragon, serpent. He was, he isn't, and he will come for just a short while, and that time is not yet. And then he will be no more. And all who have followed him will go to hell with him, unless they repent. And the window for repentance is shortening. So short. Time is so short. No, it's not next week. But in view of eternity, so short, so tiny. It's a breath. And then it's up. This video might do nothing, but just help me get something out that I have held in for a long time. I am weary of holding it in. I am weary of holding it in.
Yes, having persecutory psychotic delusions is exhausting psychologically. I'm certain that Morgan was exhausted by her thoughts and beliefs by this stage. Unfortunately, instead of seeking treatment, she turned to the Bible and drew a delusional reference from a section of the Bible which she took to inform her of the date on which she should self-terminate. You can't help but feel sympathy for her when she says she's weary though. She really was. She just didn't know how to properly deal with what was going on in her mind.
God has a day. Maybe I should title this, Behold the Day is Coming. If anyone actually gets through this video the whole way, God bless you. I really mean it. I pray that if you don't know Jesus, you find him now. If you don't know Jesus, he is the one and only Savior of the world. The Lamb that was slain for our sins. For your sins, because everybody has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. If you don't know Jesus, call out to him now and ask him to save you. You cannot make it through this life alone. You cannot get into heaven by your own works, by your own good deeds. Because there is a heaven and there is a hell. If you made it through this video, congratulations. You listened to my rambling at 2:30 in the morning, 2:45 in the morning, whatever it is now. If I even ever post this video, God only knows what I'm going to do. Because he sees everything before it happens. He knows the enemy's every move before he makes it. The devil's a joke. He does have power, but he's ultimately a joke. He still thinks he can usurp God. Oh. He didn't learn 2,000 years ago. He didn't learn when he was cast out of heaven the first time. He didn't learn that the God that created him can just wipe him out with the breath of his nostrils. Oh, behold, the days are coming. And the devil's gonna find out that he screwed himself. Oh, what a day. What a day that will be. God bless you if you made it through this video. Oh, I pray God meets you where you are, that you encounter him, and that he pours his spirit out on you, and gives you the power to walk through this life as a victor, and as more than a conqueror, through Jesus Christ. One day you will meet God, and he will either tell you, "Well done, good and faithful servant," or "Depart from me, I never knew you." So seek the Lord while he may be found. Seek him while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. He is near right here and right now. Ask Jesus to save you. Ask him to forgive you of your sins. Accept his sacrifice. Invite him into your life. How does it go? Romans 10, 9 and 10. Can't think. It's way too late. You confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, and you will be saved. God bless you all. To hell with Satan. All you wicked out there persecuting me day and night, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
This ends the first video from Morgan Daub. As you can see, it is full of delusional beliefs, not least of which is the idea that she's being persecuted by millions of people. She doesn't state that she's suffering from any hallucinations, either visual, auditory, gustatory, olfactory, tactile, or somatic. There is no strong evidence of thought disorder or phrase salad, but it is obvious she is highly preoccupied by religion and God moving against her enemies. Were I to hear such a video in one of my patients, I'd be concerned that they might form the view that they should be the instrument of God's will and harm others. Next, we see the second video posted by Morgan. This video features Morgan recording herself to camera and makes the far-ranging nature of her delusional complex more clear, beginning with the British accent she affects in her role as Queen of the United Kingdom.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I thought I should use this accent, really. Hello, everyone. Morgan Elizabeth Daub here, York, Pennsylvania, United States of America. I hope this travels the world. I really do. Oh, I think the privacy being stolen. I hope this rocks the world today. This video, please do send it out. Please do. Finally God showed me the reason why. Game over, devil. 7 times 70, please. Harder. Please. I, Morgan Elizabeth Daub, York, Pennsylvania, United States of America, do hereby abdicate the throne of the United Kingdom, along with all the rights, privileges, etc., appertaining thereunto. Today is November 26, 2022. For all intents and purposes, I have formally abdicated. I refuse to be queen. I will not be crowned. No one will force me to be crowned. I'm returning power to the people of the United Kingdom. It's my suggestion. Obviously, I cannot command it, but it is my suggestion that they immediately pursue establishing a republic for their great country. Oh, please, let this rock the world today. My hair is absolutely a mess. I don't care. Abdicating queen does not care. No, Queen Elizabeth III for the United Kingdom. I know they'd love me. I know they would. They wouldn't know what to do with me, actually. No. Elijah has come. They did not know him, but did to him whatever they wished, as it's written of them. You rock the world with this today, Lord. Yes. I was next in line for the throne of England, United Kingdom. Not anymore. Not anymore, Donald Trump. Not anymore, Barack Hussein Obama. Not anymore, Wendy Rogers. Not anymore, y'all. It's done.
It's difficult to be certain, but we believe the Wendy Rogers she refers to is a Republican serving in the Arizona State Senate, who was an officer in the US Air Force from 1976 to 1996. She is on the far right wing and embraces conspiracy theories such as the Great Replacement and that the 2022 Buffalo shootings were a false flag operation conducted by the US federal government.
Oh, I hope they're getting the papers drawn up right now. I need attorneys getting those things set right now. Please. As soon as possible. My pen will be hitting the official paper. They get drawn up faster than you can say queen, really, will be. Yeah, a devil goes for too much. Thinks he can outwit the Most High God. This is what happens. I did sign a little bit of a paper here. A little bit of paper. What the heck? See, I could do so well with it. I do the accent so well with it. The lingo. Fortunately, no. No, Daisy Ridley. The Queen. Devil. No. I refuse to be Queen. The United Kingdom. I will not be your next Queen. If you honor me at all, you will set up a republic, a system of government similar to what the United States has. Our Constitution, study it. And get yourself something similar. Throw off the royalty, throw off the monarchy. Somebody somewhere down the line decided they were going to be royal. Nobody was actually born royal. And then somebody else went along with it. Nobody's above anybody else. We're all made in the image of God. This is funny. This was the penultimate plan against me. And against God. Didn't know I was the ideal pick for Antichrist. For the devil. For all intents and purposes, I have abdicated. I refuse to be queen. No one will ever force me, or trick me, or manipulate me into accepting the throne, accepting the crown. No one ever. I don't know how to flip. I don't think I can flip this. I'm gonna have to figure out how to show it. Okay. It's a little bit backwards, and will turn things upside down all the time. That's it. I'll take a picture of it in another video. There it is. My signature. What the? I hate these silky videos. Why do they flip everything around? It's stupid. Don't ask me. Maybe it flips back around when it saves. Is that what it does? I don't know anything about technology. And yet I figure out all their algorithms and stuff too. Beginning of the shaking. I will not be queen. Ever. Never. Never. Read my lips, never. I will never be Queen of England. United Kingdom. I'll never have Morgan Elizabeth Daub for queen. In fact, I don't think they will ever have monarchy ever again. The Antichrist will seize it by intrigue and then set himself up as king. Yeah, it's done. I have formally abdicated. I formally abdicated. I don't know if I should say anything else, Lord. I'm a servant of Christ. I'm a daughter of the Most High God. I am royalty in Jesus. I am a royal priesthood. And they fucked with the wrong family. They really fucked with the wrong family. God will give me royal authority. I rule and reign with Jesus in heavenly places. I am a king and a priest unto my God, Yahweh, Elohim El Elyon. I am not the Christ. I am not Antichrist. I am not the Christ. I am not false prophet. But I am a prophet of the Most High God. And I'm ready to roar for him. Lord will roar from Zion. time for the king to roar. The one true king, King of kings, Lord of lords, King Jesus. The one true. Amen.
There's more evidence of thought disorder in this second video, with some unusual word choices, unusual phrasing, and some portions where her grammar is noticeably poorer than in the first video. She also speaks about being or becoming the Antichrist if she remains the Queen of England, but now that she abdicates, someone else having to fill that role while she fights on the side of God. All of that is quite delusional with a very strong religious fixation. Her belief that she is Queen Elizabeth III of the United Kingdom is also obviously delusional. She does seem to refer to talking to God, but from the video, it's unclear if that's prayer or potentially an auditory hallucination. There also seems to be some mismatch between her emotional state and what she's talking about at times, although that could be argued to be just her mugging for the camera, like when she fake cries. What follows is the last video she posted on the day that she and her family died. If you're enjoying this video, you can find a link to our psychology channel on the top right of the screen, which explores unusual and interesting psychiatric illnesses, which you may find interesting. As you can see from this analysis, Morgan Daub experienced delusional beliefs, most likely as a result of a psychotic illness such as schizophrenia or delusional disorder. The duration of the symptoms increased the likelihood that she suffered from schizophrenia or delusional disorder rather than substance misuse or a general medical condition. Treatment for shared psychotic disorder involves separating the two or more individuals involved and treating them separately. Usually the person who originally suffered from the delusions requires treatment with antipsychotic medication as per any psychotic disorder, while the other individual may recover without medication just by virtue of no longer being around the delusional original sufferer. This can, of course, be difficult to arrange as individuals with shared psychotic disorder may resist being separated at all costs and may require involuntary admission and inpatient treatment. Absent treatment, the shared psychotic disorder can become entrenched and, regrettably, lead to violence and attempted and completed self-termination. In the future, we intend to cover another case of shared psychotic delusion, which resulted in several instances of attempted self-termination caught on video and the murder of an innocent stranger. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons in order to be notified when we release future similar videos. We've included a list of further reading for those who wish to learn more about such unusual psychopathology. These are affiliate links which may earn us some commission, which we'll put towards creating more and better content going forward. We hope you found this video interesting and that you consider hitting the like and subscribe button so that you'll be notified when we release future videos along similar themes. Till we meet again, take care of yourselves and stay safe.